Hello, this is Jill Slinker, Director of the Department of Student Programs. Thank you for agreeing to proctor the Academic Super Bowl. This webinar will guide you through the proctoring process. This year, we will be having the student captains enter their answers on the electronic score sheet and then show you, the proctor, the answer to record on the paper answer sheet. This process will dramatically cut down on the time it takes to determine state results by helping us to resolve any conflicts with questions quickly. Let's talk about your basic responsibilities as a proctor. I have broken down this process into those basic responsibilities and then a step-by-step guide on how to run the electronic answer sheets used at your site. So, your first responsibility as a proctor is to check the students who sign into your round against the official roster on your table. Students may only compete in 2 subject area rounds. Then, if you are proctoring a junior contest, they could also participate in interdisciplinary. Or if you are proctoring the senior state contest, there is an interdisciplinary round there as well. Students should sign in on the top of the paper answer sheet and indicate the captain. If there are substitutions after question number 12, please sign in the substitutes by initialing next to their names on the registration form and have them sign the answer sheet in the spaces provided as well. If the student's name does not appear on the squad list for the subject area you are proctoring, please contact the scorekeeper immediately. Do not let them answer any questions. A non-eligible competitor will cause the squad to be disqualified. If you catch this before they compete, the person can be replaced by a qualified squad member, or the team can compete short a member. If, however, they answer questions, again, they could be disqualified. So, you are going to be entering the students' answers on the paper answer sheet. Here's what the paper answer sheet blank looks like on the left, and then a roster on the right. If you'll notice that there are 3 parts to the paper answer sheet. You have the top section where you will register the squad. You have the middle section where you will copy down the answer that the team captain shows you. And then you have the bottom section, which you will use to calculate the total score and the tiebreakers for that particular round. On the roster sheet on the right, you will notice that there are X's in the boxes for the subject areas that the student is going to compete in. Please make sure that there are no more than 2 X's in a subject area box and then a possibility of an X in the interdisciplinary box, depending upon which competition you are proctoring for. Calculators. If you are proctoring the math, science, or at the junior level, interdisciplinary, or at the senior state level, interdisciplinary, this screen will appear before the round starts. Please make sure to check the calculators that the students have brought with them to the table against what the screen says is allowed. There are only 2 models acceptable. If they have another model, please raise your hand for a procedural official before the round begins. If the student has an acceptable backup calculator, he or she should be allowed to replace the incorrect model with one that is acceptable. The same goes when someone is subbing in. This will appear again. So, materials that you are allowed to have at the table. When you are proctoring a round, please make your way quickly to your table so that you can familiarize yourself with the materials that are there for you and the electronic score sheet that you will be using. So you should have rosters, answer sheets, scrap paper, pencils, red pens, an electronic device for scoring if the host is providing it, or if the team is providing it, that should come to the table, and any necessary handouts. If there are charts or tables to distribute in your round, generally only in math, science, and the ID rounds, the MC will instruct you to do so before you begin. Instructions for accessing each individual round are on a slide coming up in the Keeping Score Electronically section, and you will have a printout of this on your contest table. Now, students will often write down an answer chart once the rounds have begun and then use that to point to the right answer during the question. This is perfectly fine. Once the word begin is said, they can discuss the questions orally at that point, but the basic rules on communication are as follows. During the round, students may not orally confer with each other until the reader says begin after each question. Only written communication is allowed before the word begin. They can write anything they want at that point. Scrap paper will be available at each table. No notes, formulas, etc. may be written on any paper or entered into a calculator by any member of the squad until the reader begins the first question. Now, if it's the first round of the evening, this will be a practice question, and this is when they can start as well. So a math team may come down, wait for the first question to begin, and then write some formulas down that they need to know, that they need to remember. That is just fine. Once the round has begun, they can write down anything that they want anytime. If an infraction of the rule occurs, the proctor will warn the squad captain and remind the squad of the rule. If the squad continues to confer vocally before the word begin, the proctor should notify the host, who will call the procedural committee. So let's look at keeping score here. When you, as a proctor, have been assigned your team and you sit down at the table to start your round, you need to go through a quick process to access the right forms for your round of the competition. This process may actually happen during the coach proctor's meeting, but it needs to happen nonetheless. This is going to cover the basics here, and then the slides which follow will show you exactly what you will see if you're doing it right. So, first, you need to check to see if you are at the right table by looking at the sheet at the table shown at the right. Now, your host will have filled in the school name and tab number before the team for the team that you are proctoring, and you will get your proctoring assignment in that coach proctor's meeting. Now, if your host has not set up each of the computers individually, you will need to do that as the proctor. It's not very difficult to do, but it is shown here in the second part with information that your host will have provided you. Okay. So basically, what you need to do is open up the internet browser, type in Google Sheets in the URL window, sign in with the username, email, and password provided on the sheet. The host will have created that for you. Once you have done that, you need to select the round sheet for the first round. Whatever subject it is, pick the right one. Find the tab along the bottom of the sheet for your table. So you go across the bottom of the sheet, find the tab number for your table, click on that tab number, and then check to see that it says the right school name and the right subject area. Once you have done that, you're ready to go for the round. When you're finished with the round, and you verify all of your scores and you do all of that, click on the Google Sheets icon on the upper left of the screen to go back to the list of more Google Sheets that you will need. And this is essentially what you're going to see when you do that. I couldn't put it all on the same screen. So the You'll have a Google Sheets list of subjects. You can look at that in the upper left-hand corner here. When you get on the right tab, you will have the school name and the subject area listed. The school name will be in line 2. The subject area will be in or the class will be in line 3, and the subject area will be in line 4. Okay, so you're always going to set up. You get to the new round. You click on the icon for Google Sheets up there by where it says English. You get to the new round. You get ready to go. On the right, what you have is the sheet at the right side, which shows you the tiebreakers that the Google score sheet calculated. And you will use all that information at the end of the round to verify the scores against the paper answer sheet. So once you're ready, they'll start the questions. You proceed with scoring the round. I'll give you the details on that in a minute. At the end of each round, verify the score totals, cross-reference with the paper answer sheet. Make sure that it is all correct before you move on to the next round. We need to be able to catch any errors, make any corrections as soon as we possibly can. Okay, basic summary of the scoring system. Remember, during question reading, they can non-verbally communicate, write on scrap paper, work on their calculator, enter the answer on the electronic score sheet. They can do all of those. After the reader says begin, they can also talk to each other. Before the time expires, the team captain will enter the answer on the electronic score sheet and then hit tab to record their answer and show it to the proctor. Now, when the pencils up slide is revealed, you will circle the answer they show you on the paper answer sheet. The correct answer will then be revealed on the screen. Okay, once everybody's got their answer recorded, the correct answer will be revealed on the screen, and you will then mark the paper copy appropriately with a plus for a correct answer and a line drawn through the answer choices for an incorrect answer. At the end of the round, you are going to take this paper answer sheet, calculate the scores on the paper copy, calculate the tiebreaker scores. There are directions on the sheet as to how to do that. Compare that against the electronic score sheet and make sure that both of them say the same thing. All right, so when you're on the correct tab, you're gonna open that Google Sheet, select the tab at the bottom of the page, okay, to find the right table number. Then you need to verify under column A the team name, their class, and the subject area round. Okay, so here we have as an example, Rydell High School, Class 1, Fine Arts. Okay. Next, okay, if you are not in the right place, if these don't match up and you're unsure as to what to do to find it, call a scorekeeper over before you begin and make sure that you're on the right page so that everything goes well. Now, during the contest itself, the team captain is going to enter the team's official answer into the red boxes before the time expires and then hit tab. Once they've hit tab, the box, they enter it in the red boxes right there. Once they hit tab, the red box is going to turn white and have their answer in it. Okay. If the students don't answer in time, and this is one of the things that you're going to need to watch for, if the student does not answer by the time the pencil's up, time's up, slide shows up, then you need to supervise them entering X as their answer in the box. Okay, that just indicates to the scorekeeper that they didn't get an answer, so nothing will be scored for that. So Once they have entered and tabbed out, they'll show you their answer choice. Okay. The scorekeeper will then type in the correct answer on the key. Okay. In the white line that I've just shown you with the arrow, that's where their score is going to appear. If they get the answer right, they will, that box will change to a green and they'll be given 1 point. If they do not get it right, it will stay a 0 with a white background. The tiebreakers and the total score for overall are over on the right-hand side, and there is a yellow background to those boxes so that you can easily tell the difference between the regular round and the tie-breaking score and the final score. Okay, so after the answer is revealed and the electronic scoring does its thing, you will need to look at what you have put down on the paper answer sheet. They're going to reveal the score. You look at the paper answer sheet. If they got it right, put a plus next to the number. If they got it wrong, okay, you need to just draw a line through all of the answer choices. Please do not do any check marks or circle or do anything with telling what the right answer was. That just makes the answer sheet difficult to read. So just put a plus if they got it right and draw a line through it if they got it wrong. Okay. Then you need to calculate the tiebreakers at the end of the round. If you'll notice, tiebreakers are questions 21 through 25, questions 23 through 25, and then a third tiebreaker. So on the bottom of the sheet is where you do the calculations. Okay. You have their total number correct, so add them up. The tiebreaker number 1 is how many did they get right from questions 21 through 25. Tiebreaker number 2, how many did they get right questions 23 through 25. And tiebreaker 3 is how many questions did they get right in a row. Okay, so you have to count your pluses and how many in a row before you have a missing score. So how many did they get right in a row? In this case, on this sheet, their tiebreaker number 3 score is a 4 because they got questions 15, 16, 17, and 18 right before they missed one on 19. And that's the most that they got right in a row. So you're going to take those numbers, write them over onto the right. You sign it as the proctor. The team captain will also sign off. This sheet you also need to compare to the yellow boxes on the electronic score sheet because those are the numbers that should match. Again, when you look at their score sheet, this is what you should see. You know, they have 4 right in a row. You can see that with the 4 green ones in a row. They have a total of 15 points. Their first tiebreaker, 21 through 25. They got 4 of those 5 right. Second tiebreaker, 23, 24, and 25. They got 2 of the 3 right. And third tiebreaker, 4 in a row. Okay. So that's where you're going to compare that to the paper answer sheets. So if the screen does not match your answer sheet, you'll need to make the needed change between questions or at the end of the round. Don't interrupt a question in process to discuss scoring issues. We can get that taken care of between important events. Note, there are no appeals on the answers to the questions. All the questions and answers stand as presented. If you feel an answer is wrong, you're encouraged to send written appeals to the IASP office with documentation proving the answer wrong by 9 a.m. the morning after the contest. All written appeals will be shared with the original question writers Scores at the area competition will not be changed. Thank you again for agreeing to proctor the competition. Without volunteers like you, these events would not be possible.